Non.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. It's strike hard, strike fast, and no mercy. We're gonna review Cobra Kai on Netflix, the series. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
What's up? What's up, Kev? I'm excited. I've been watching this show since it aired on YouTube right before the pandemic. Uh, I watched the original Karate Kid ever since I was a kid. That was really the first movie I really loved. So I'm really excited to talk about this. I really am. It's been a while. I don't think I've ever talked about Cobra Kai like any podcast or anything on camera. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, let's go with it, man. We can start from all of it. Listen, 1984, 80, when the Karate Kid came out, I was a young kid. I actually got into karate because of the Karate Kid movies. The whole Daniel Son, the whole thing, the whole entire uproar with him fighting the different bullies. Went to the theaters to see Karate Kid 2 when they took that ride into Okinawa with Mr. Miyagi. Cobra, Karate Kid 3 wasn't really my favorite of the three with Daniel Russo with Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and then Karate Kid 4, you know how it goes with Hilary Swank. It really wasn't nothing to tie into the movie, just other than Mr. Miyagi. But other than that, but let's go right into this Cobra Kai from the first season. Remember, it started off on YouTube TV, and then Netflix purchased it and moved over to Netflix. And just to see, as they fast forward, 30 years, to see Johnny
Yeah.
Lawrence down on his luck, and what a reverse of fortune with a crane kick could do. Daniel LaRusso wins the All Valley tournament, and the sky's the limit. He gets a trip to Okinawa. He meets an Okinawan girl, kisses and dates an Okinawan girl. He comes back. Mr. Miyagi opens up a bonsai business. Then Daniel becomes an entrepreneur, and you see him later in the show. He owns one of the top dealership in all of the valley. And Johnny is just a handyman who's just struggling, man. What was your thoughts of seeing Johnny 30 plus years later?
First off, they did a really good job in the first episode specifically of doing the recap because a lot of people like my girlfriend who don't watch the show, instead of explaining it to her, I made her watch the first like 5 minutes of the first ever episode of Cobra Kai.
Good.
But it didn't surprise me because if you remember in the original Karate Kid, Johnny was always that arrogant asshole. That guy, like I saw it coming. I saw this coming where Daniel, Mr. Miyagi basically handed what he had over to Daniel. Daniel was smart with it. So I'm not really surprised, but I was surprised just to see how he was living. I mean, he was passed out drunk every other day, especially like before he met Miguel and he became his sensei and finally opened up Cobra Kai. But I mean, this guy beat up a bunch of teenagers in the parking lot, getting a pizza with I mean, it was unexpected. It was unexpected, but at the same time, it's like when you go, what now that I'm older, like it's kind of like okay, like you saw this coming, kind of. Like as a kid, you don't see it coming, and then, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I think they did a really good job. Um, kind of explaining it, and then just the way how they meet up with each other by him realizing that his daughter was the one in the hit and run. It was crazy way to start off the new show, the new like kind of introduce us back to the whole Karate Kid. It's just them 30 years later. Good introduction to the first episode.
I appreciate the whole series because like you said, the first episode is like an introduction, a recap, but not to the point where you're like, oh my god, we already know the story. Move on. No, they rehashed it and they did a good job through the whole entire series, all
Yes.
seasons. of just going back in time, or giving a recap on why this character is important to the storyline or to the show at the moment. I loved everything, and especially Johnny sees the big billboards of LaRussa, but they never seen each other over 30 years, though. It's been over 30 plus years. They haven't seen each other face to face, regardless. And it's funny that Johnny was the one with money. But remember in Karate Kid 1, it was Daniel LaRusso who took like a gig, or not a gig, he sneaked in through the kitchen to look for Ali while Ali was at the country club dancing. That's the spaghetti scene. And Johnny and his
Yes.
family were, and of course Ali's family. They were all in high society at the club, chilling, relaxing, and having a dinner. One of those formal dinner dates. With the families and all the rich people. And then you see now that Johnny lives in Encino Pines, where Daniel, when he first moved
Hmm.
from
New
New
Jersey.
Jersey, moves in there. So it's kind of funny the reversal of fortunes, the way the roller coaster ride that the directors of the show took us in, and then just showing, you know, here is Johnny down in his luck. He's buying over the counter pizza, terrible pizza as dinner, in a quickie market, like you said, passed out drunk at times, got fired for a job because, he just didn't know how to express himself correctly. He put the TV.
Yeah, Connor a bitch.
Yeah, he put the TV in the wrong side of the bill of the wall. And it's all this crazy stuff with him. And then he used the lady's bathroom and stunk up the place.
Hmm.
All those
Uh-huh.
crazy stuff with Johnny. He's like, what the hell? Johnny don't get it. He's like he's stuck in that time. Throughout um the whole seasons and the whole show, it felt like Johnny was stuck at that time zone. Like his whole world came stopping from that crane kick and losing the old valley. He kind of stood stuck in 1985, 84 season there. He just stood there. Like time stopped evolving with him. Although we know later on
Yeah.
his mother passed away, he's down in his luck. We then find out that he's a father. He actually got married. He had a father. And his son is becoming Robbie becomes a big part of the whole storyline. But I like the fact that when he has compassion, the bully who bullied Larusa has compassion, seeing this young kid Miguel getting bullied and getting, the kid was so naive and so nice. He was just over the top, nicely naive, and he felt compassion with that moment with those jerks at the convenience store,
Hmm.
poured a bottle of Pepto Bismol, and then we have Cobra Kai kicks
Yeah.
in because Johnny kicks into his something. He was down in his luck. He got fired. He got no money now. He's got no work. Hey, the Russo's pictures all over the plaster, all over the place. Everything. And he defends that kid's honor, kind of like what Mr. Miyagi did to Daniel
Mhm.
Larusso when he was in the famous skeleton Halloween scene. Now Johnny has that karate vibe in him, that flow, and then he decides to go to the gym or to the Old Valley tournament area, and then he goes and he's looking and he's reminiscing, and then his Camaro just gets bamboozled with three girls, like you said. One of the girls in the passenger seat was um, Samantha Larusso. We don't know that Samantha's a young girl that looks at him, sees eye contact. So they take the tow truck to get fixed at the dealership, and out of all the dealerships in the valley, it had to be LaRussa's dealership. And then we have that kickoff right there. As they finally meet face to face, see each other after 30 plus years. And I gotta say, Daniel was a little insensitive with meeting Johnny because you could see when someone's a little down on their luck just by Johnny's appearance. He was unshaved, looked a little disheveled. And Daniel was a little kind of like, yeah, this. And then his cousins, the two Meatball brothers, hey, this is the guy you kicked in Old Valley. Yes, yeah, and yeah, and it kind of kept putting
It
gasoline.
rubbed. It got. It pissed
Yeah,
off Johnny a little bit. That's like it was. It was good. Like I enjoyed that, but like when especially when eventually too when like Daniel looks in his car and he's like Pontiac this and he's like my personal code giving on and it's like he on the house like that's when Daniel offered to do it on the house that's really when Johnny was like okay like f you like just want my so um I thought him dropping the bonsai tree after was also hilarious
That was a
But like
symbol. Yes.
you could just tell Daniel was coming off like karma's a bitch, Danny or Johnny, excuse me. Like
Yes. Yeah.
look what like karma's a bitch, like kind of being a smart. Um,
Yeah.
but I enjoy it because I enjoy the way Daniel gets reintroduced to karate again later in season one was really good as well. Um, but after that, that's really what started it. But I don't know. I think what started it was during that season when like the All Valley, like leading up to the All Valley, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of the exact moment where I thought like was without like watching it like we're gonna get like an All Valley, and I think it was when because no Crease wasn't introduced yet.
No. Grease is a cliffhanger later.
Wasn't it when Robbie gets introduced to karate at one point? Too, isn't it when like Daniel starts training Robbie?
Daniel starts training Robbie, but here's where I think to me where what got Daniel karate's juices going or getting back into it because at this point he has peace. He's put that behind himself. He's into making
Right.
money and entrepreneurship. Seeing Johnny, okay, didn't really trigger him. The moment when he goes and he makes and he's having the life is beautiful. He's having a wonderful time. He stops at the red light. He looks to the right to
And
that
he sees the
same mall,
billboard.
strip mall, and he sees the billboard of the Cobra Kai side that you see in between
Uh,
me and Chris. It brought him memories. It triggered him. It took him to a point where of disgust or memories came crashing down on him, where he's like, "Oh my God, these suckers are back. This snake is returned," and that just totally took Daniel Larusa, and he took. If he was a heel, he went into even more of a heel turn, more bad guy, even more in this part because he kind of puts the using his power and connection financially that he has. He sends the inspectors to inspection the gym, preventing the opening of the Cobra Kai because at this point, when Johnny sees Miguel getting bullied, he kind of says, "I'm going to train you. I'm going to train you
mhm.
Cobra Kai," and Johnny uses whatever resource money he has to rent that same location to teach Miguel as his first student. And I love that bond because throughout the whole show, Johnny's first student is Miguel. And
Mhm.
we see Miguel go through so much and down, up and down when it comes to character development from the bad guy, the good guy, the heel. The only part that I'm going to say about the whole Cobra Kai story that I thought it was a little off, but then I could see where it comes back to it was when Miguel goes off to Mexico. That was kind of,
Oh, to
I
go
know,
see his dad.
yeah, but come on, out of all the places in the world, and then Johnny finds him exactly in the same spot. It's like that's the one thing I had to disconnect. That's the one thing I had to disconnect. But I understand why he told the story. He's gonna find him no matter what. They were always meant to be pupil and student, and he called name is sensei. I thought he had a better, stronger bond with Miguel than with Robbie when it comes to Johnny.
Oh, absolutely. It's been since day one, and Robbie knows that. Robbie takes notice that, especially um when Miguel learns karate and he beats up all the kids in the cafeteria, and Johnny finds out, and he's like, "So you beat all those guys that I beat up like all by yourself?" Like, and he gives him the gi that Johnny wore in the All Valley, and
Yes,
and then they point the camera, and Robbie like was gonna go meet his dad, and he like sees that, he's like, that's when it really like because
hit
like
him.
now that makes Robbie want to work for Daniel. They start training, boom, boom, they start clashing. But I like that to me is when like it's the gi, it's when him giving the gi. Like Robbie knows that. Like Robbie
Yeah,
knows since day one, and even during season like the next season, next couple seasons when Robbie or after the All Valley where Miguel leaves Sam and he goes to Mexico and his parent like his mom finds out like even like Robbie's like, you sent me here to go to like Miguel, like he knew right
yeah,
away. Like he tried
yes,
playing it off, but he was like, why are we here? Like we're here to go find Miguel, aren't we? Like, yeah. So like Robbie knew since day one that they had a stronger bond. That they were but like I
yeah,
like this and we saw it took until season 6, the very last couple episodes for like Johnny and them to like really connect. Like
It did.
really,
It
like
did. It did. I like that bond. I
I
like
would
that
say
bond
season
there.
five, I guess. Season five.
I, I like that bond that they had between Johnny and Miguel. We all, also we see a big bond, and believe it or not, it doesn't happen until later in the show. The bond between Tori and Mrs. Larusso was a big, strong bond.
Yeah, yeah,
They had a they had a good, strong bond as well. There was a lot of good bonding going on. Um, this season one, and as we go along, what I loved about this whole Cobra Kai, me watching it from the beginning, from when it was just movies before it became a series, was the throwbacks of bringing all the different characters from the movies
yes.
into the fold. Of course, season one ends with Kreese returning. I like, and
Hmm.
Kreese, other than a little plastic surgery here and there, or look kind of the same. I'm like, oh damn, he's still that hard ass, that hard ass sensei. Like, oh
Yeah,
damn, and they it threw Johnny into a loop. And I like the fact that Miguel wins the O'Valley, and he's their champion. I was like, oh, awesome, awesome to see that
that
there.
was that was the great way to go. Definitely.
Yeah, that was a good way to go because you didn't oh, here's a good guy winning. No, it sets up for more and more and more.
And it's
And then
against
when
it. And it's against Johnny's son. It's against Robbie. Like that's
yeah,
really
what
what.
is
That's the start. That is the start. When Miguel goes into Johnny's house and he finds the picture and he realizes after the tournament in season two when he's
mm-hmm,
like, "Oh, like that's why you didn't want me to beat up Robbie because this is your son." And then Sam gets involved. Like that's what starts it. It's Sam. Sam's responsible for Miguel
Sam?
falling off the cliff, for falling off the school. Like, and we'll get into that. Trust me, that's a big part.
Yeah, that's
But,
no, that is a huge part because there's a love interest now. What breaks what gets between the two what animosity, one more fight. It's the love interest. It's Sam
mhm.
Larusa. She's a little bit of a snob though. She's
Yeah,
you could see Daniel's trying to teach her to be humble, but she is snobbish in a way. I don't know, because they are of
he
money.
grew up with
They
money.
are,
Daniel didn't.
yeah. Daniel didn't. Daniel didn't, and we also see it
I'm
in
pretty sure
Anthony.
Mrs. LaRusso grew up with money too.
We see her backstory though, Mrs. Caruso. We saw a
Yeah,
backstory
true.
where, which is
She
kind of
got into
funny
some crime.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, because she was best friend with the girl that dated love interest for Daniel Larusso in Karate Kid 3.
Three. They're
Yeah,
cousins.
that was their
They're cousins.
cousins. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that's right, good one. And I like that they gave a call back to Karate Kid with her and their cousins. They went. She went back home where she's from, and that's where we saw that character introduced there, where she, it was good because we had that callback. We had even a callback
Hmm.
where Daniel goes to Okinawa and he meets Kumiko. They met her over there. Also Chosen, which now we thought Chosen and Daniel will have some beef, some strife, and Chosen is good friends.
You know
He
what's
actually honored.
sad?
Mm-hmm.
And because you keep talking about bringing people back when they actually did Robbie's or Bobby's death on TV. Like they did it before the actor that passed away.
Yes, yes, that's the guy
They
that
did
says
that. They
put him put him in the body bag, Johnny, and then they actually
uh-huh.
ended
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they ended
They
the
actually got
episode
to
with him.
they got to do a death scene before he actually passed away, which I thought was really special. I thought it was sad. Like obviously it was an
It was
emotional
it was
scene, but
sad, but it was touching.
yeah.
Yeah, because he
It
came
was
out
like some
because that.
closure. It was like closure in a way, like
Yes,
for us
yes,
watchers, yeah.
it was a good one. Yeah, good call back on that because they go camping, just Johnny with
Mm-hmm.
the boys, the Cobra Kai boys, and because he creases back and
Bobby's
he's like,
bald now. He's a bastard.
yes, yes. He was the one that says, "Put him in the body bag, Johnny." Yeah, yeah. Put him in the body bag, and then the episode ends with him literally because he had cancer, and figuratively in real life, and as well as in the program and the show. That's why they did a men's trip. He asked as one of his last requests for Cobra Kai to get together and go away, hunt to the, I guess it was the woods, camping, and then he
Right.
passed away
Yeah.
camping. He passed away camping in the body bag, which was like, oh damn! You see the body bag zippered up. I go, what a way of
Yeah.
ending his actoral last scene of his acting career in a body bag, where he's
Yeah.
famous for uttering those words. Put him in a body bag. That's when you think of that, you think of him on there. Yeah, that's a sad memorial. That a good callback there. You also saw Daniel Larusso's mom. was a good callback as well. We saw her
Yeah.
several times throughout the episodes, throughout
Mhm.
the seasons, coming in and out. Good to see her on there on the TV screen on the program. Also got to see back in Okinawa. You see that Chosen comes to live with Daniel later on in the series, becomes a sensei, a teacher. We see Cobra Kai. Miguel recruits some of the kids that were being bullied, that was picked on. Hawk with the lips. He becomes a badass. I love his transformation. One of the badass
Yes.
transformation, non main character. Although I think Hawk is still a main character in my opinion because he was the main.
Mhm.
But his
He's an All Valley
transformation,
champion.
great. Yeah, All Valley champion. Yes, indeed. Yes, I love his transformation. I love
Yeah,
his
me too.
transformation. Oh, dude, that was cool. I didn't like too much Penis breath
Dimitri,
was
he's a
funny.
smart ass.
Dimitri, nah,
Uh,
I didn't like Dimitri. Yeah,
he's a
Dimitri, that's the
smart
guy. Yeah,
ass. He's a smart ass, man. The binary brothers, like he's a smart ass. Like what Johnny says, like line up. You mean Rose? Like just comments like that. Like I thought throughout the show he was such a smart ass, but I enjoyed Paul. I really did. I thought, yeah,
yeah, and then eventually we get to see the return of the one and only, the heel of all heels. He was the heel of all heels. I
Terry
don't care what you.
Silver.
Terry Silver was the heel of all heels, the bad guy of all bad guys. He made Kreese look like a picnic. I couldn't believe that
especially
how. Yeah,
especially no, I was gonna say especially when he gets reintroduced and you see how he's living, and then we know
yeah,
later on how that really was. But like when Kreese is like, because remember Kreese was in mental hospitals, you know, getting in the fights, prison eventually. Like Kreese was kind of like sorry, too much wrestling. I keep saying priest. Kreese is more like an older version of Johnny in a way because he still has that
yes.
war mentality, the PTSD, and the way when he sees the way that Terry's living, like when we all do, it's just like wow, like, and then he puts the ponytail back up when we realize how
Hmm.
badass he really is.
Absolutely. And also Kreese looked like Johnny the way they reversal, and then when we go back to the scene how Cobra Kai was came to life was in a den of snakes and a den of cobras. We see that they're back in Vietnam. They're in prison camp. They're prisoners of war. They they wanted for fun. The GIs had to fight one another for no mercy, no survivor, because then the other one, if not, they both would have been killed as prisoner of war. They were being entertained, seeing the American soldiers beat each other up to the death. So Kreese wasn't the one chosen for the entertainment part. It was Terry Silver who was supposed to fight their Sarge for survival, and he saw that Silver wasn't prepared mentally or physically. He was scared out of his mind, and that was his friend, and he said, "I'll fight instead of Terry," and he volunteered, and he took out his own Sarge. He threw him in the dens of snakes, and he passed away. Of course, the snakes took care of him. That's where Cobra Kai, no mercy, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. That's where it gave birth. I love the fact that they gave us the roots of the beginning of Cobra Kai in that the whole Netflix series. That one episode was really great, and
A lot of
I
flashbacks to
enjoyed it.
their younger days. A lot of flashbacks to their younger days because we never knew really what the tattoos meant. What John
Right.
Kreese's snake tattoo, like they showed that scene where they got like even where they got it.
Yeah.
But we don't because in the original Karate Kid 3, I don't believe they give us a backstory on how Kreese and them.
No.
I don't even think they mentioned war together. So it's like when we like when it's a good like that they explained it. Like a lot of this, especially during that mid season two, was a lot of explaining behind the history of Cobra Kai, and it really spoke about it. Really focused on like Kreese specifically. Like we saw a lot of Daniel later on during that season, but in the beginning of that season, it was highly focused on the history of Cobra Kai and now how is Cobra Kai going to like they wanted to basically live that again. Like Kreese wanted and Johnny, they wanted to bring that type of style back to these
Right.
kids. To yeah. So I thought I love the way, like you said, love the way they
And let me
explained it.
ask this. Let me ask this to you, Chris. Knowing that we saw the backstory of Cobra Kai, how it was
Mhm.
born, where Kreese stuck up for Terry Silver, who was afraid in a corner. They didn't want to fight, but he had to fight for his life because he was going to go into a den of snakes.
Yes.
So that's why they see. That's why they want to resurrect Cobra Kai, and they see it in Johnny because there was Johnny saw a bunch of kids being bullied. He saw Miguel being bullied. Then Miguel brought his friends from school who were bullied, and Johnny sees that kind of students he has, or like he says, and he uses the word the PUSSY word, the pussy word, over and over and throughout the show. He saw them a bunch of of slackers. So that's why Terry Silver and Kreese wants to bring that to the world because he sees a lot of people that are being bullied or he wants people to be aggressive, strike hard, and it wasn't just speak with your fist. He meant in everything in life and business, because he's successful. You see how much money and the money he makes with all different things because he strikes hard, he's fast, he shows no mercy in that business mentality. He wants to use that same moniker or mission statement, not just in karate, but in everything. Which that's why Cobra Kai they say never dies because you always want to be show no mercy in all the situations and you want to strike hard and fast. And I like that when it came to the message of Cobra Kai in general. And then we see all the kids. That's why they resurrected there. I think let me ask this question: do you see them as the heels here, or you see people that just wants to get tired of being in the back of the line?
I think they're just tired of getting in the back of the line. When like think about all this the crap these kids. I'm talking about the OGs. I'm talking about Aisha, Miguel,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hawk, and those three specifically, right? Because those three have been humiliated the most. And I felt so bad for Sam because her and Sam are friends, but Sam's friends were, airdropping memes of her, like calling her fat. And then with Hawk's mom announced to the school, "Hey, stop calling my kid Lip." And then they're all pointing at him, like in the cafeteria. Like these are just kids. And I Kyler in the library, throwing yogurt all over their backpacks, and then all that stuff. It's like these kids were tired. I don't think they're heels. I think they're we're wrestling guys, to use that analogy. I don't think they were. I don't even think they were baby faces. I just think these were people that were kids that are tired of being bullied. That's why I took karate when I was a kid. I have all my certificates and my belts in here. Like that's why I took it, because I didn't get along with people. People like picking on me. And like what like when Miguel has that fight scene, that's you realize it. Like I never been into a fight in my life, but I'm just using that analogy because you can relate to that. Like I think this series did a good job of relating to people like me that look like Miguel, literally. But like, yeah, yeah, I think with the OGs, you saw them just wanting to stick up for themselves, and eventually Aisha got her revenge, gave that bitch a wedgie. So we got it worked out. It worked out for all three of them got their revenge with Hawk making that fat kid's teeth go in, and then Kyler being like didn't even make eye contact. Like they all got their comeuppance. They all got their revenge.
No,
They all got stuff.
they all did. And you know what hooked me from the beginning was when they did the Halloween dance, the Halloween party where Johnny's putting flyers and Dan because Daniel,
Oh
keep it an
yeah,
eye on his daughter,
yeah,
chaperoning.
because it
But
gives her the
then
bracelet. Yeah,
yeah, but I love the fact that Miguel wears the classic skeleton costume, and
yeah.
Daniel's mind got messed up
Oh yeah,
bad.
because he was already worrying about Sam and Kyler because he knew that they were gonna go out into the classroom, and he eventually catches them. But like, he's I, I think he was more worried about Cobra Kai than that at one point, especially
At that
excuse
point,
me,
yeah,
especially after when he realizes like he messed up. He's like, okay, we'll get back to Cobra Kai.
yeah, yeah. And the good thing though that because that Kyler was up to no good anyway. He was a
Oh yeah,
he was a douche nozzle through the whole series. Yeah,
he gets funny. He gets the first 2 seasons he's a douche, but
yeah.
when he joins Cobra Kai and him and Robbie like steal the snake during that era, he was kind of funny. He's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
He gets he gets the redemption. You know, I remember when he said, "I don't eat sushi." Daniel almost had a heart attack when after Daniel goes picks out the fish and he makes the rolls and he's trying to fancy
Oh
himself
yeah.
and he creates sushi. He's like, "I don't eat sushi." He's like, "Oh my god!"
You got any
But I
fish
loved
sticks?
it. Yeah, fish sticks. There you go. He wanted fish sticks. Oh my lord. I know. And then I love the fact that again back to that Halloween scene with the costumes. That's funny. And then when Miguel starts learning karate, you know, he gets beat up in the locker room, and Johnny just teaches him, right, you're gonna learn how to kick, so you're gonna learn how to punch. And then when he starts punching the dummy, when he goes in there and Miguel, you see the aggression, and he says, "Who do
Mm-hmm.
you picture someone?" And then Miguel just that light switch clicks open, and then when he takes him in the pool, learn how to swim, learn how to kick. You're gonna learn how to quick kick, and he just throws him in the pool, and I mean, he forgot all about the asthma. I love that bond between them because they grew together. He taught him. It was that pupil student, similar to Mr. Miyagi and Daniel, because
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, all we knew that we don't know who the hell that was his father. We never knew in the Karate Kid whatever happened to his dad. They never mentioned his father. They never. It was just. It felt like Mrs. Larusso was a single mom that just boom.
They never
That had to get
mentioned
away.
they mentioned it a little bit during when they I forget which season specifically, but when they go back and like it's when Daniel goes back to no, it's when Amanda goes back to her hometown when she leaves because the whole she's sick and tired of the whole karate saga,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a scene where Daniel and his mom are in Daniel's living room and they're going back to their pictures. I think Daniel's mom like tells him a story about his dad, but they don't mention what happened. Like
No,
where did he go? Did he just leave? Did he pass away? Like they don't mention that. We just hear that little story during that season.
because it kind of makes me wonder, like, did she? Because she moved in the beginning of Karate Kid, and this is a little off. They never mentioned. It was just us speculating. She They moved to Encino, California, all across the country, with that beat up car for a job opportunity. Okay, but the mom was working as a waitress. You mean there's no restaurants in New Jersey? There's so many diners and restaurants that to me it kind of seems she was fleeing from the father.
Yeah, probably some abuse. So.
And they don't, maybe they didn't want to talk about
And they
it.
don't mention it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. But it was just us speculating because she was a waitress. She could have I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait a minute. It's not like she was taking a promotional job that had to relocate, like in the Karate Kid, with Will Smith's son, with Jaden Smith and
Yeah.
Jackie Chang. They moved out of a whole country to China because her company relocated her for more money.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different story. This one here, they relocated her, but she relocated, but it was to wait to because we see when she serves Daniel food while when he's looking at the Cobra Kai kids, or when he that scene that he goes to Cobra Kai and he saw it was Johnny and he left, and from the original Karate Kid. But I mean, I wonder whatever happened to his dad. What was the reason why the dad wasn't mentioned? But we'll never know.
Um,
One here. What? Let me ask this: What was What was the least favorite character out of the whole story of the whole series?
my least favorite character. Hmm. That's a tough one. I enjoyed all. I don't know. God.
I got one, but he was okay for a little bit, but then he got annoying.
I'm gonna let me hear yours. I gotta think about this because I know I have one. I just can't think.
Mine's a Stingray.
That's a good one.
It's like, yeah, he got. I mean, I didn't. He was starting a little bit annoying, and it's like, dude, you're like, it was weird. It was weird the whole dynamic with him and all that.
I
I
would.
understand he
I
was.
might say this, Brad. I mean, he was kind of cringy. I still think Dimitri was a smartass.
That
He
Michi.
everybody something would say somebody like especially like when they bring Matt Barnes back as a sensei it just shows
Yes.
it just shows that like he's a like Dimitri just he's a smartass no matter who. Like no matter who he's being a smartass to him, he's being a smartass to Johnny. Like Kreese even punched him in his face because he was being a smartass. Like he was probably my least favorite character. I would say Dimitri.
Yes, they bring Sensei Barnes back. Right now, he's away from karate. He wanted nothing to do with Cobra Kai. He's a successful carpenter making wood furniture. He sells wood furniture. He's a man with his hands that work with his hands for building and constructing. They recruit him, got him back at karate. I remember he says, "I don't want to do the karate." The funny part when I saw Johnny and Barnes together, like in that first scene, so it felt like you were my replacement me, and you were my replacement John.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
because
hilarious.
I doesn't Johnny be like, "Who's this?" Doesn't he say it? Like I don't think he knows. Like
Yes,
I don't think he realized that in
yeah,
the beginning. They
yeah.
don't realize that like you're the replace. I wonder what happened with Johnny in the season with episode 3. Like there was no on the Karate
It
Kid
was an
3.
it was an actor thing. I don't think it was supposed to be an actor thing. I think Johnny was supposed to be. I think Johnny was supposed to get like his revenge, and I think the actor couldn't come to terms to play that role. So they casted someone similar looking to Johnny in Barnes, and they went with Karate Kid 3. I think that's how that went.
Okay.
I think
My mom likes the actor that plays Barnes because he's like on the Young and the Restless or some shit like that. The boy
yeah,
or
he,
the
he, he
manager,
was
one of
he
the
was a
two.
he's a soap opera actor. He was a
So
soap
yeah,
opera actor.
my grandma really likes him. So
Yeah.
that's how I didn't realize that was him. But yeah, it was good bringing him back. Like that was another thing with nostalgia characters. But yeah, my least favorite character, Dimitri, for sure.
But it was good to see Sensei Barnes. They burned his business. Oh my goodness, they burned his business.
They burned his
Um,
business.
all the karate
That was
fighting. I
that was
just I,
horrible. That was horrible because Matt, like he wanted the revenge so bad. Like when Chosen, Johnny and Daniel got drunk, he kidnapped them and was like, "We're getting revenge on them." And even him and Johnny were like, "Let's go, like let's go." And then Daniel's like, "No, we're drunk." Like, and then they get up in jail. Miguel
yeah,
and Sam have to go bail him out.
I like the fact that roller coaster because Johnny and Daniel, you could tell that they're still have animosity. They're trying to mend fences. They're trying to be adults about it. They struggle with their friendship, their kinship. Who's in charge? Who's not in charge? I like that whole um, series. That rivalry always was within them, and it's like, but then Daniel realized, why am I being childish? He's down in it. Let's just, I like that he thought about changing his ways and going into a better person. Where Johnny was just stuck in 1984 through the whole, even through the end, even at the end, he was just
Even
stuck,
at the
man.
end, because like even at the end, um, because he finally gets his revenge on him. He doesn't get his revenge on Daniel, but he finally wins an All Valley, and after his last time competing in one, he got
Plus,
cranked. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it, but I yeah, I think the tournament scenes in all of these episodes were good too. The first two
we're
All
very good.
Valleys, the Sekai Taikai,
Hmm.
even when they do the invasion, where they invade the new Cobra Kai, and then they show the
Oh,
village
I
split into
love that.
like they did a great job choreographing the fight scenes. And I even after, because for shows like this, I like to watch the behind the scenes after the show's done, not while they're filming, because then like that's a little spoiler.
Yes.
I went and rewatched the backs, like some videos, some clips on YouTube, like behind the scenes, and like they did such a good job choreographing the fights. Like I heard, because one of my favorite YouTubers, his name's Balin Levine. Shout out Balin. He was an extra in Cobra Kai. He's an influencer, but like he's one of those guys like I Show Speed in the WWE. Like he does content about that. So like, hey, come on, you're a big influence. So he was on the show and he talked about that they didn't, like, during the fight scenes, they don't know what's going on. Like they're not told, like, just react the way you would react, like babyface heel. Like they tell them like, hey, follow this, but like their reactions are natural, which I like about the act, like the extras too, because that get that it's genuine. but they do a good job of filming it. All the fight scenes were good, all of them. Even the ones that they filmed when Miguel's coming back from his coma and like he's in like his brain and he's like fighting back. Even they filmed that really well. Like, they did a good job with every tournament scene throughout this series, which
Yeah,
obviously it's
it had a
different
lot of drama.
times, right? Yeah, go ahead.
They had a lot of drama because Miguel falls down the steps, breaks his back, falls into a coma, and
Yes.
he has to fight. He has to learn how to walk. And Johnny was with him, stuck with him all through that through his rehab. He felt guilty, because he taught the kid how to defend himself. The kid was just thought he was invincible until he got hurt. So I love that. It was, his spinal cord was hurt, and the kid persevered. Johnny was with him training, and when he takes his first step, and he says, "Miguel, you're on." I love that again because they showed that Johnny persevering with Miguel taking his first steps. Like you were talking about the Saikai Taikai, I like to show that because I've always said this about the old valley. Whatever happened to all the other schools in the valley of karate? Because there's so many different other schools in karate, and I like that
Yeah.
when they did the side when they won the old valley, they got the Saikai Taikai where it meant it was open up to the world. So we saw different people, different karate schools from all different parts of the country. We saw a cameo of a professional wrestler, Britt Baker, was part of that. That was cool to see her there. That was
She
nice
did
to
like a
see
little.
on that.
She played a Russian. She played a Russian girl.
Yeah, yeah, she did. She did. She did play the Russian from the Russian national team. We saw some more heels, but then we saw where Cobra Kai's karate roots come from. Not from Japan, not from China, but more from Korea.
Yeah, that surprised me a little. That surprised me, right? Because when Johnny introduced, like, it for me, Cobra Kai, like, obviously, like, I was alive when the fucking movies first came out. Like, I started really watching in like 2010. Like when the Jaden Smith one came out, that's when I
Yes.
went and rewatched all the other ones in 2010, 2011. So seeing this, like going back and watch, like whatever. Um, what were we? Wasn't I just? I lost my train.
No, we were talking about the origin of Cobra Kai, where they
Yes,
when I thought we didn't know it was Korean. I thought it was
yes, we did.
Chinese.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I thought okay. So they describe it as all American karate, like an American style karate. Like I thought it was like
Okay,
like when Johnny says, "I'm going to teach you guys some old fashioned American karate." Like
like
American
Eagle Fang.
karate, like Eagle Fang, like American karate to me, I thought was like a hit like a Hishinru karate style, which is like a Japanese. To me, this is more what my martial art. This is more Taekwondo. It feels like, and we learn about because even though like with Kreese and Johnny, they didn't do like the cool kicks, but when you get introduced later, when you see Quan and when you see all these like even when Kim Sung Young, Master Kim's granddaughter, who's the sensei in the show later on. Her style is more fancy kicky. It's more taekwondo. So that shocked me when they did the whole and we finally saw who the hell Kim Sung Young was. That when they finally like, I don't think you understand how I like a lot of wrestling analogy, but when I say I popped for when they actually showed him, I was like, he's real. Because like remember they showed it back when Terry Silver goes to greet Mr. Miyagi and Daniel in Karate Kid 3. He goes, my master Kim Sung Young. Like, I wonder if Miyagi knew Kim Sung Young.
That's a good question. It kind of felt like it did. Remember,
Because
to
remember when
me,
Chosen's like his
yeah,
master's Kim Sung Young. Like, wait,
yeah,
and he's like, because he goes like this, and Chosen's like, that that's Kim Sung Young training. Like, I know
yeah.
that style.
So
Like,
they must have known each other.
I wonder if this history.
There is history. I think there is history. They kind of implied that there is history because Chosen recognized the style of that. And Chosen was under the name teacher as Soto, who is Miyagi's,
Yes.
I believe brother or I guess
Uncle,
stepbrother. I don't
nephew,
remember.
something real,
I
some
don't
type of
know. No,
relationship like that.
no, Miyagi's nephew, which I think Soto was his brother.
Mm-hmm.
We So they knew the master, and the father was the one that taught Miyagi and Soto the karate out of Okinawa from Japan, which is
Yes.
when from there. That style that they learned was from the Japanese style. When I thought Cobra Kai, by looking at the logo, the first impression, if you study a little bit of martial arts, to me, I thought it was kung fu. I thought it was kind of a
Yeah.
Cobra Kai. To me, looks more kung fu with this. You saw the snake. You see, we're from Bruce Lee movies. But when I saw
Mhm.
that's what I thought it would be Chinese. When I saw it was Korean,
Okay.
hey,
Yeah.
it's all good. I like that. That's there. That temple. One thing that I wanted to say was how the hell Kreese got out of jail. He faked his death, but how the hell he went through customs? How the hell he got across the country and he flew plenty of times back and forth to where the temple was for back and forth. I mean, that's cinema, but it's cinema, but we'll let it pass.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah, I get what you mean because he's a wanted man.
He's a wanted man, and wait, how the hell you got through customs 3 times? Because he went back and forth back to was it Korea to the
Yeah,
compound.
that's where it would
It
be.
was.
The temple. It's overseas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah. How
I
did yeah.
wonder, I wonder. But no, I love how they showed that. They showed the way they trained.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of going back and forth from like season one, season six, back to season, but we're just talking about the overall show up. We're
The
not
whole
really
it's
trying
the
to.
whole series. It's the whole
We're not
series.
going
Yeah.
in. We're not starting from season one. Going. We're just talking. But I enjoyed the way they taught. They gave us that background. And it was different to see Quan and some of these other guys because we didn't see something like that, like them training for the Sekai Taikai, like it, like when you see like the All Valley competition, like we don't like competition is weak. Like we know these guys are gonna
Mm-hmm.
Miguel, Robbie, Hawk, like we know they're gonna win. But when they introduce Quan, when they introduce the other guy that they end up fighting, and then Quan beats the shit out of all of them, it's kind of like okay, like there's another big character. I'm kind of pissed he died so soon, but I enjoyed Quan's work and I enjoyed throwback, that throwback ish, because that right there is Cobra Kai. That's the Cobra Kai. That's where Cobra Kai was born in a sense, in that temple.
Absolutely. And I love and also we're speaking and there was not just men oriented. We had the women that was important in Cobra Kai as well. You know, one thing that before we get into the Samantha Daniel's daughter, and Johnny has a pupil in Cobra Kai, female pupil who's total badass. But also, I think Johnny got closure when it came to the female. When it comes to women in the whole story, because right before I believe was the season 2, if I'm not mistaken, Ali returns. Ali makes her return
Going
back,
into
and
season three, yeah, season three is when she's in the. I believe is when
she
they do the scene where like they meet up again.
yeah, all three they get to meet up. They see that they're she kind of surprised that Daniel and Johnny kind of patched things up, or they really did they or didn't. Feelings got circulated because Johnny never got over kind of that breakup with Ali. He kind of blames, and this is where all the beef started with Daniel and Johnny was Johnny and Ali were kind of in a breakup. She didn't want to deal with Johnny because he was a little bit of a jerk. Daniel was just being a cordial, being goofy like Miguel, where he tossed her radio. He just wants to pick it up for the girl, being a nice guy, and he ended up getting all this beef with Cobra Kai because he picked up a radio from a girl in the middle of a breakup. Instead, getting involved in a love triangle, in a domestic situation, caused this whole situation with Daniel LaRusso going forward. But he got closure because he later on he knows Ali's not for him. Ali has moved on. He has to move on, but he finds love interest in Miguel's mom, which was cool. That dynamic
Yeah,
there kind of humanized
I
him a little
enjoy
bit.
that. I enjoy that dynamic. I saw it coming. Just the way Miguel's mom Carmen would kind of look at him at
Hmm.
sometimes. I think it hit Johnny when um like around when like Johnny's kind of choosing between Ali and Miguel's mom because there is a point where like but Miguel doesn't know but like he kind of has a thing for his mom and then she's on dates with that guy and then he's in the bathroom where he's talking about how like I'm with this girl and she lives with her freaking mom, like whatever, like, and then he's like, yo, you're not gonna hurt Carmen. Like, I think it hit him right there, like, okay, I like Carmen. Like
Mhm.
it bothered him that she was seeing somebody else. But it bothered him that him and Allie, whatever. So Johnny's love life in this series was in the first couple seasons specifically were really complicated, but it made sense going after Miguel's mom. And I was really surprised with how Miguel took it. He was like, "Yeah, okay, can I go? I gotta go.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
gotta go meet up with
That's true.
Sam. Like, I kind of knew this
Because
already. Like,
he
okay,
because he was in love with himself. He found love himself, and he was too busy preoccupied with Samantha. He falls in love with Daniel's daughter, and a Cobra Kai student with Daniel Russo's daughter dating a Cobra Kai
oh,
student. I
Johnny
mean,
didn't like that at first. Johnny was like, "You're
imagine
dating
Daniel.
Larusso."
Hmm.
Daniel didn't want, yeah, because Daniel. But remember, that's why Miguel in season one, early season two, when Miguel didn't or Sam didn't want to introduce Miguel to Daniel. Like,
To
remember, because
Daniel.
he finds that Robbie he doesn't understand the context that like Robbie's working for Larusso. So like he's at the family dinner just because he's like getting trained and like working with Larusso, but and he thinks like he feels some type of way like you won't introduce me to your dad, but he's around like, and it's because of the dojo I'm affiliated with. Like, yeah, like
He didn't
yeah,
understand that,
he didn't understand. No,
and it's ironic. He didn't want Miguel at the beginning because he was a student of Johnny. But meanwhile, you have his natural son, his born, his flesh, his
natural
son
boy,
in his
and
house,
he
and you're training his
and
son.
that and I believe he didn't know that at that time because
No, but he
he only finds out when uh they're on good terms. They go to that bar when they have like the little double date at that Mexican place,
yes,
and they're
yes.
like, hey, like, all right, and then they go back, and then he realizes like that's his kid,
Hmm.
like Daniel, like I think Daniel had every right to feel like he was being set up. I
I
do.
absolutely
Like
a
Daniel
little
felt like he was
defensive.
being set up. That's why he was like, "Yo, get out of here! Like, what the hell kind of sick game is this?" That, like,
Hmm.
like that was another moment in the series where I was like, no, like,
Yeah,
how is that going to play out?
It took us on a roller coaster. The whole Cobra Kai took us in so many different roller coasters of emotion. Of like, oh damn, the plot twist. You're training his son, but you didn't even know. Trouble, and then Robbie was in the picnic. He was in and out of juvie, getting in trouble. But
Yes,
I think it was Daniel's wife that convinced him to see through it, and good, because I think she brought up Mr. Miyagi, took him in and made him like a son, and Miyagi didn't have to do that with Daniel, to the point where he gave him everything, the cars, the property.
yeah, because
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure he set him up financially as well.
yeah, 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 100%. Because we know that like when Daniel goes to Robbie's apartment and he kind of sees like this dude's eating cereal for dinner, like
Hmm.
his mom's around, like obviously, and at this point they know he's Johnny's kid because he doesn't because remember like Johnny's like he threatens to beat up uh one of Daniel's co-workers. He's like, where's Robbie? Like, I know he's with the Russo, like
Yeah,
whatever. And then
yeah,
he's like, he moved in, like I don't know. Like that was a big part too, him moving in. And I think like it helped Robbie in a way, but like Robbie, like I think Robbie to me was the most. I don't want to say underrated, but like at the same time, it's like the show focused so much. Like you have the nostalgia of bringing Ralph Macchio and William Zach. I'm using the real actors' names for a second.
yes, yes,
You have these guys coming back to actually do the series. Like it's not just a spin-off. Like you have the two Karate Kids playing the main characters, and then you have Miguel who is attract like the ladies like Miguel, um, vice versa. How like Peyton List who plays Tori, I know her from Disney. Channel. I'm 22 years old.
Hmm.
I know her and Hulk from Disney Channel. So like I think she's hot. Like she's a but like Robbie, like the character development is the most underrated thing in the show. From
Yes.
scamming people from at that tech store, from just trying to get back at his dad um by taking the job at LaRusso Auto, and then it turns into
Yeah.
like, okay, like maybe this is something more. Like I actually want to be here. Then he fights his scammer friends. Like we see Rob. Like it's a good. It was such a good story about a kid just
To
changing his
me,
life with
to
karate.
me, right. To me, what we saw was a little bit of a reversal because we saw Daniel returning the same favor that he received from Miyagi because Miyagi was, you could say Miyagi was the best thing that ever happened to Daniel LaRusso's life,
Oh,
period.
absolutely,
The
no
best thing
question,
that ever happened. And
no
I think,
question.
I think for Daniel having Robbie, or Robbie having Daniel in his life was the best thing that ever happened to Robbie because, we see
Yes.
Robbie changed. He's humble. He also took on a reclamation project of his own by taking Kenny, who was also a troubled
Yes.
student.
Yes.
And I
So Kenny. Yes.
and that kid was awesome. I thought they were gonna show more of him. I thought he was gonna end up being a grand champion because the way they focused on him, I was like, whoa, that kid was awesome. Even though he pooped his pants, we saw that the young girl put the X-Lax in this thing. But so many different characters in this that gave us investment. Tori, her trouble story when
Oh
her
my
mom
God.
passed
Yeah.
away, and she just wants a break in life. And she's trying. Where life has thrown her so many lemons and disappointments, and she continues to persevere and fight. And Kreese likes that fighting spirit because life has hit her, and she refused to go down. And he wants her to have no mercy and strike hard and strike fast and strike first in life. That's why Kreese had a love of compassion, not just for Tori, but for Johnny as well. Because you see him when he says that he hailed him as a sensei when in a teary situation at the end before Kreese dies, and he meets Johnny right before Johnny goes and has that last fight battle for in the Sakai Kakai for the Grand Championship. That was a closure moment.
I'd be
And
lying to you if I said I didn't have tears coming down my eyes during that scene.
wow, okay,
Like I was in, there was a season. Okay, season 6 had me emotional, not just because I knew. It's because they're closing. I know they're closing this. Like we're not getting a season
yeah,
8.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're like it's hitting now. Like them getting like this was a closure. I knew this would be the last time we'd see these two interact because they kept mentioning like hints that someone's gonna die, and like the way that when Kreese goes up to, I almost just said, Tori when he goes to Tori's door, it's like I don't know, see me again. Like it was basically like this is the last time I'll see you. They do the bow.
Hmm.
Like I knew Kreese was done as soon as he did the bow to Johnny and Tori when they come back as Cobra Kai. I knew that was the last time. So that scene was perfect. It was
To
perfect.
to me,
We haven't seen Kreese tear up like that ever.
yeah, that was a good moment. That was a good moment. For me, was the end when they rehashed everything from the beginning. For me, when they showed us everything from '84, the whole Karate Kid, when they went through the whole time warp, to me it hit because I lived through all it. I watched it from the
Mm-hmm.
very beginning, and then I knew it was gonna be the end. It's like, damn, man, it went away for 30 years, and then they brought it back again with this. But I appreciate it because they brought back
Yeah,
great for me, great childhood memories, great memories of it, and I appreciate what the Karate Kid, Cobra Kai did. For the memories, the
yeah.
nostalgia of it. I love. I really enjoyed it.
Even
That to me, that was
even kids like
awesome.
me, even 22-year-olds like me, like who grew up with the 2010 version of the Karate. You know how many times I've watched as a kid when I would actually when I actually did karate every single day before I went into college, and I like as a kid, like I'm talking like middle school, even middle school, I would put the gi on and I would just watch that final fight scene of
It
Daniel and
it gave it a
Johnny. Like
boost. I'll tell you one thing. In the '80s, when this movie came out, the karate had a big boost. They had a boost until the
okay,
early until the '90s. To me, karate, and at least I could talk about the New York City areas, suburban areas. there was a lot of karate suburban area schools, a lot of karate dos. I had the privilege to go to Fort Apache in the Bronx, in the karate sensei Guzman. Angel Guzman was my sensei. I had my senpai was Milton Oliver, who serves right now on the Guardian Angels in New York City, up and down the train. So Sensei Milton, shout you out if this video gets to you. Got the chance to be brown belt in Shotokan Karate Do. Um, it was really fun. I had a great time as a student, fighting in tournaments, all state champion, all that good stuff. It sucks when you're in the Bronx. There's no money, financial. We were given the opportunity to try to go to the Olympics to fight karate, but when you're in the Bronx, there's not a lot of resources and money. There's not at that time in the early '80s. There wasn't sponsorships where you could go and ask for a booster or donor to donate it. Or maybe there were, but we didn't know um, who to where to go to at least sponsor us to try to make the Olympics teams. But it is what it is. But karate is still fun. It's a fun time. It was good. It was different, and it kept for myself and those our students that went to Fort Apache in the Bronx. Um, it kept us out of the streets in the Bronx, where crack was running rampant, crime was running. You see the abandoned building, but we were in karate, learning discipline, learning just being as a team, learning just, and that's what karate does. And I like that with Karate Kid or the Cobra Kai showed in a different perspective of these kids. Yeah, they had some money and stuff, the kids that in the show, but it is what it is. It was a fun thing. One thing I wanted to say, Chris, in the last season when Chosen gets that letter from the mailman, it was a flashback when Miyaki got the letter from Okinawa to return back because father was sick, and the mailman says,
Mm.
"Oh, nice place here. This is some place." I loved all the little Keons of the throwback from the movie. To me, it was just like, yeah, let's go.
Even when at the end of at the very, 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 very end, where Daniel catches the flies with the chopsticks and they relive where they're in
Yes,
Miyagi's kitchen and he did that for the first time. They did like
and he goes,
this show did a really good job of, if you haven't, I've seen all three of them probably hundreds of freaking times. I have them all on
I,
DVD. But if you're somebody um who hasn't watched any of the three movies, but like, oh, Cobra Kai, like I'm gonna get into it. They do a good job to where you don't even need to the
that's
three.
true.
Like if you don't want to, if you don't have time to, you really don't have to, because
Right.
they do a good job of every season. Like everything they're like for like when Daniel's like, when you're like, what happened, and then they do a whole flashback, and
Hmm.
you're like, that makes sense now. Like sometimes for me watching it, like I probably rewatched before season six came out. I probably rewatched it on Netflix like 100 times. Me and my parents share their Netflix. When they're like, "How many times do you watch this Cobra Kai?" Like, you have no idea. But
Yeah,
um,
I'm with you.
I don't like, you have no idea. I still rewatch it every day. But they do a good job too. Yeah, you don't like they explain everything. They tell you with, they do a flash. They don't just tell you to where like you need to guess. Like they actually give you the whole flashback, whether it's from the first one, second one, or third one. So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite parts about this whole series, is that
Yes,
they did a good
yes.
job of telling you stuff from the original Karate Kid.
They, and they're not long episodes, ladies and gentlemen. They're like 39, 40 minutes a piece. It was a really good. You could get into it. And I like the fact when they were still, even at the end of the season six, or before it ends, when he's talking about the crane kick. Ah, you beat me with a lucky kick up with a kick to the face. Goes, but yeah, and Daniel tells him why he beat him. I knew you were impatient and you were gonna come lunging at me, so you set yourself up to fall right to get kicked in the face because you were impatient. You didn't have no patience. And Daniel showed a little bit of his wisdom of his karate, and then Johnny took that to heart because he showed patience at the end to win the Saikai Taikai with his finishing move there, and he was it was wonderful that word of wisdom and You could, in this show, showed me that Johnny had a chance to do a retake, a redo, a restart of his whole life, and he did. When he went to the tomb to talk to his mother in the beginning of the show, life doesn't give you retakes or redo. Well, 34 years later, it did, and Johnny took advantage. He won the Old Valley, grand champion. Tori was the grand champion. Um, so was Miguel, and we got to see Daniel LaRusso in a Cobra Kai uniform, a gi.
That yeah,
And yeah, your thoughts on that? Seeing him in that Cobra Kai?
that it was insane. Just Cobra Kai during that scene where where Axel, the dude from the Iron Dragons, he beats he intentionally destroys Robbie's knee. I looked at my lady. I was like, Miguel's gonna put the they're all gonna read back Cobra Kai. Miguel's gonna represent Cobra Kai. Watch. She looked at me. She was like, yeah, because like she's starting to pick up now. She's like, yeah. I was like, well, it happened, and like I like that, but I like the sensei. The sensei versus sensei threw me off, and I enjoyed it because it,
I saw that coming a mile away. I'm not gonna lie to
so
you. I
did
said,
I.
oh,
So did I.
I said
Oh,
Johnny,
I
oh,
did
it's
it,
gonna be
not the sensei.
Johnny.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that
I did,
coming. No, I
and
did not. I
I
didn't.
saw Miguel. You know when it was Miguel when he goes, I don't got no magic. When he says, don't you want to rub? When I thought he was gonna do I thought Daniel learned the technique
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
Miyagi
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah,
with the rubbing.
yeah.
I thought he did, but when he says no, what do you think? I don't have no magic. I was like,
Chosen
oh,
was
it's
like,
gonna
I
be
don't know, I can't do that. Like
yeah.
that
It was
doesn't work
chosen. It
here.
was
Yeah,
chosen.
it
It was
was
chosen.
chosen. He was like, I can't do that.
I
No, but
said,
I
oh, it's
liked
gonna
it.
be Miguel. It's gonna be Miguel.
It was just crazy to see, after all Johnny and Daniel, that scene just showed me like you can really patch it up with your rivals. I mean, these guys, they came together for one thing, and it was to take out Kreese and Silver. Um, it was Johnny could have easily taken Silver and Kreese's side. Obviously, Kreese is like a dad to Johnny, um, and it's that Cobra Kai mentality. But Johnny was being a better man, and he wanted to do what was right with Daniel, and I think Daniel finally appreciated it. It was just crazy to see them two come together. For him to look Silver in his face and say Cobra Kai never dies, and
That's when he
for
got in his head. That's when he
yeah,
got in his head. Terry Silver
and
lost it
for
there when he got in his head.
and remember, Daniel Russo is former Cobra Kai. Who was the person who recruited Daniel LaRusso to Cobra Kai in Karate Kid 3? It was Terry Silver.
Still, it was Silver.
So that scene just wow, like everyone was talking about it, but like you guys don't realize like when in season 2 or 3 two in season 2 or 1 or 2 when they're training before their very first All Valley, and Daniel's like, I know that's not true because I used to be Cobra Kai, and all the students like,
Mm-hmm.
you like you like it like you know what I'm saying? Like it just brought back like wow, like for Daniel to say that to Silver, it it was like it was great. It was great storytelling. But I loved that part. I love the end where Daniel they raise the trophy, and what does Larusso say? You're all right, Lawrence. What did Johnny
Yeah.
say to Daniel when he gave him the trophy in the first ever Karate Kid? You're all right, LaRusso. So
All
just,
right, Laura.
I love
Mm-hmm.
the little stuff like that. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. The throwback and yeah, I yes, I think that's what for being if you really enjoyed that cinema that movie back then, and then you see this play out in front of you, you're gonna gravitate and fall in love with this series. And the thing is,
Mhm.
I asked this question: does Cobra Kai really dies? I wouldn't be surprised if it gets revamped again, some way somehow, because it's
Well,
just
they're doing
there.
the
I know
Karate movie with Jackie Chang and Ralph Macchio with this new Karate Kid. Maybe
maybe
he's like Miguel because Miguel's done. He's going on to do like Blue Beetle, like stuff like that. Like he's gonna get into like the more like Latino movie scene. Like he's gonna be Hollywood. Like Cobra Kai was like his foot in the door. Like I think
okay.
he's gonna do bigger and better things. The Solo Mono Duena, that a real life actor, the guy who plays Miguel. I think he's gonna do a lot of other things. Maybe this new actor that they're doing for the Jackie Chang and Ralph Macchio, maybe they do something with him. And I don't know. I don't know. I think Cobra Kai. I know Cobra Kai never dies, but
Cobra Kai never dies. Also, I love the fact that Robbie and Tori got those endorsement deals where they're making money for the product
I was
and
worried.
karate.
I was worried for Rob or for what they were gonna do because we saw that obviously Sam was going to Okinawa to just do what she always wanted, really relive Mr. Miyagi, where her family comes from. Um, Miguel was going into Stanford. You know, a lot of Mitri and Hawk were going into college. I mean, Johnny's family man, Daniel's already set. I mean, there. I felt like those two were the ones that I worried what they were gonna do, and like because we were seeing it with like those guys I just mentioned, like, they were saying it throughout like season 4. Like these are my
Hmm.
plans for at high school. Like we didn't get
Right.
that. Like it always felt like with Tori and Robbie, like they're ex juveniles, like they're criminals. Like what's gonna do for them? And I think it did a good job of playing into today's world where like the young lady who plays Zarya, she's a real
Hmm.
life. She does what Tori and Robbie are doing in the show. She does
Right.
that in real life. That's how she got the
Right.
Cobra Kai. It's because she's a karate social media influencer who gets
Mhm.
paid by brands and sponsors. So they did a Cobra Kai even with like Johnny sometimes not knowing how and post it on the internet and like
Yeah.
sure like him not knowing like in the beginning when he buys the laptop from the pawn, he's like, "How do I work?" And he's like, "Oh," and he's like just them tying into real life world. They did such a good job with this series that
No,
it
they did.
wasn't
They did it.
they weren't fully
They
stuck
did a
in the
great job from the '80s, tying it into the modern time, and they
yes.
brought Johnny into speed. And you gotta love that. I this is
And
another
you
great
would love
series.
it too. I think you would appreciate it too because you were around during that time, right? Where you during the scenes where like they're riding and they're playing that old like they're like him and Johnny. They're
Well,
like took
the
it on a
soundtrack,
run, baby. That's the way
the
we
soundtrack,
want it,
the soundtrack
baby.
was
And like they're doing, and then they play "Kickstart My Heart" by Molly Crew when they're chasing the guys to
yes.
go find Robbie. Like they play such a good playlist, and like it's like they finally got the rights to that ACDC like "Boy and Black" or whatever it's called. Like they finally got the rights to the ACDC song. So I
Crew
love the '80s soundtrack.
Cruel Summer is a big part of Karate Kid. You know, when he's when he's introduced into the school and in Karate Kid the original, when he's going and he's trying to try out for the soccer team and he gets kicked out for It's a Cruel
Mm-hmm.
Summer. They play that in the Karate in
Yes.
Cobra Kai. There was a lot of good stuff, throwback and stuff like that. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up here of the show. We're gonna because we got other things to do. All in all, we recommend you for Cobra Kai to watch this whole series. If you haven't binge watched it, we recommend it. We give you 5 stars plus to watch it because it's a nostalgic journey from '84 to current times. If you watched it and you see it, you get invested. Every character meant something. Even Chosen found love at the end of
Yeah.
this series, which was awesome. Everyone and anybody there, it was a good series. Kenny, the only thing they didn't show too much of Kenny though at the end,
No, they
and
didn't,
and
and
and and
he got
Anthony
eliminated quick from the Sekai Taikai too. They eliminated him pretty early.
and Anthony and him, they patched it up though because they kind of patched it up and they found out that it wasn't Anthony who gave him the laxative, so
It
they
was
kind of
Devin Lee who did it, the
Devin
girl.
Lee, yes. And
Yeah.
I wanted to see a little more Devin Lee to see what was her story, but I know they were running out of time. But you know,
Mm.
those characters, I liked it. Those tertiary minor characters, I really liked them. But everyone had a great part. You know, except for Stingray, we saw him at the end. He's still
Ugh.
like a Klingon. He's a Klingon that doesn't
He's
want
a
to
real
let
big
go.
pro wrestling guy in real life.
Yeah, I know. Paul
Yeah.
Hauser. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But other than that, this was a great
We
series.
heard
5 stars.
Judas real quick. We heard Judas.
Yes, we
He
did.
was
We
we
did.
heard Judas.
Yes, we did hear Judas. We did hear
In
Judas.
that
You're
scene where he
right.
comes out and Chosen and Dana looking at, and he walks in, Judas in my mind. I was like, okay.
Yes. There you go. Yes, little yes, yes, yes. You're right.
I just want to throw
You're
that
right
in
on
real
that.
quick.
No, that's all great with me, man. So this is Cobra Kai. We would have done a longer extended review, but we got some stuff coming up on the channel. This is recorded, so we're gonna we thank everyone that tuned in and listened to the video, listen to us on the other platform, or tune in. We're gonna be hopefully I've done before some Star Wars stuff, and some Marvel comics and DC. We got a lot of different things here on the Sports Jedi Network. Check us out, and maybe one of these days on the playback we'll do some Cobra Kai watch along. I'm
Yeah,
down for that.
I'm
Down
down
for
for
that.
that.
So with that said, we want to thank everyone. We appreciate everyone that listened. Don't
Yes.
hit that like, hit the 5 stars on the review on the podcast, and we hope to hear from you soon. May the sports be with you. Peace.
Acknowledge.